Kailey, our theme music's on.
Oh, it's time for the Bato episode.
It's time for the Bato betrayal. How you doing? I'm AJ.
I'm Kailey.
And you are listening to Atlas Shrugged. This is the Avatar: The Last Airbender podcast. Definitive edition, collector's edition, gold edition, millennial edition.
To millennial hosts, and I just want to say thanks to all you people listening.
Yeah, we're celebrating today.
Yeah, we officially have over 2,000 episode downloads of Atlas Shrugged.
It's over 2,000. And we couldn't be happier with folks tuning in and listening to Atla. We appreciate you for doing that once again here as we make our way to the 15th episode.
Yeah, we are officially on 6 continents. Not yet in Antarctica, the statistics tell me. So somebody send our stuff along to the Southern Water Tribe, please.
Yeah, that would be great. You can bill us for postage. And
take one of their boats. I'm going to segue to that.
I found them by the boat. More on that later.
This is episode 15.
And episode 15 opens, and it's a what we assume is a starry night, right?
That's absolutely incorrect.
No, they're in between towns once again.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not a starry night?
No, not a starry night, but it is waves crashing on the rocks kind of morning.
Oh, okay. Early morning type deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they have breakfast, and then?
Well, first thing that happens is Aang notices a whale-toothed sword along the woodland shores.
How suspicious.
I wrote that in my notes.
Ooh.
So,
pre-composed here, folks.
Just to give you a refresher, AJ, since you've only seen the episode so many times.
An X number.
Sokka recognizes the whale tooth bone as a water tribe tool, and he, along the path of what was a battle between Southern Water Tribers, warriors, and firebenders, discerns their path, follows it down to the shore where they find a tribe boat.
They find a tribal boat, and whose boat is this?
Well, Sokka recognizes it at once as one of their father's fleet.
Okay, and then a friend of the father comes up, and he's my favorite, Baku. Baka? Chewbacca?
The name of the episode.
I'm
looking for Bato of the Water Tribe.
Bato.
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 Of the Water Tribe.
I'll remember that now, and I'll surely remember that before I upload this episode. Bato.
Bato.
Yes.
Like Balto, but not. Anyway.
Right. Got that Disney vibe.
Don't think I didn't see that wolf metaphor. We'll go to that way later in the episode. Okay. So, yeah, we follow the path to the shore. There's a boat there. And then we meet one of the most interesting side characters in the Avatar world, the hunter, June.
The hunter, June.
And her magnificent Shirshu.
Is that her name? She's got the really dark hair.
And the red serpent tattoos. Yeah.
Yeah. The semiotics of her are just that, like, she's evil. Am I gleaning this correctly? She's not a good egg.
Well, this is no spoiler because it's not part of the Last Airbender canon.
Okay.
It happened far prior in the Earth Kingdom history when Kyoshi was the living avatar. But I suspect that she is daofei, which is a band of thieves in the Rise of Kyoshi novel series world.
Ah.
That's what her red serpent tattoo, I believe, means.
I see.
So she's of an ancient order of thieves.
Ah, okay. So she's like chaotic neutral.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I got those vibes from her. I didn't know if we were supposed to like just arrive at the fact that she was evil because she had like, I've got a red emblem on and like, you know, just in general codified like an evil character. But
yeah. Cool. And like riding a giant creature, fuzzy creature that sees with its nose.
Okay, call me weird, but I thought that thing was cute.
Yeah, the Shirshu is cute.
The Shirshu is pretty cute.
He sniffs.
So we meet her and we meet the Shirshu. So we learn about June, and somebody else learns about June too. Iroh, I think, has some adult feelings for the Lady Raven.
His adult feelings are very clear in this children's cartoon.
With the raised eyebrows and everything, Johnny Bravo, basically.
Yeah, you can tell that he is into June the Hunter. And
Very into, yeah.
Yeah, like right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. And yes, and shamelessly living that truth. So,
which there are no spoilers, but those of you out there who are listening who've watched the show, which is probably most of you, I'm willing to bet, Iroh is one of my favorite characters. In the top 3, it goes back and forth, but Iroh is one of the best characters in Avatar. I love him infinitely. But yeah, I can't give away what I might know about his involvement later in the show, so I'm not going to do that. But
okay,
in regards to Kyoshi,
Iroh at this point in time, yeah, he's in regards to Kyoshi.
In regards to Kyoshi,
we're bringing in the books of Kyoshi again. What's the author's name?
Yi.
Yi. Okay, so Yi has done a couple of spin-off novels. That's what we're talking about. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
The Rise of Kyoshi. Mm-hmm. I just ordered The Shadow of Kyoshi. I haven't read it yet, but back to that red serpent tattoo I was talking about earlier.
We'll let you know how it is. Mm-hmm.
Because I know that is potentially a symbol of the daofei. There's also a spirit of death in that book, and that is quite intertwined with that image. It's very good. But I wonder, because Iroh is just like not a skeezy person in general, if they just like did that to try it out for an episode, possible. Or
right.
Maybe he's actually flirting with like a death spirit or something. Fan theory, you can talk about it if you want.
Fan theory cooking up over here. Okay, so they encounter Bato, right?
Yes.
And Bato has a proposition for them. He's like, let's relocate. I know some nuns.
I've been staying at the Abbey down the road.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Great weekly rates.
It's a fantastic meeting on the beach. He welcomes these young water tribers that he knows into his wing, and then Team Avatar goes with him to the sisters who make ointments and perfume.
So there's this wait in Katara and Sokka then to follow, like he's wearing dad's uniform basically.
Yeah.
Like they're so drawn to this, and you wonder if this is providence not only for the Avatar but also for Sokka and Katara.
Yeah, they do a good job, I think, in writing this feeling for Aang, because this is wonderful. We know they haven't seen their dad in years, that he went off to war. And it is awesome that they would meet someone from their tribe upon the beach, and yet why does it feel so uncomfortable? It's because this episode is really from Aang's perspective, and he feels uncomfortable because he feels left out. They have their pelts and their sea prunes.
Right, all of their rustic traditions that are just like being piled into this room along with them, like that pelt and the weirdo soup.
He puts the headdress on his head, and Bato's like, "Please, Aang, that's ceremonial and very fragile." Okay.
Then he turns to the entire room. He's like, "I found them by the boat."
I want to just say that was absolutely cool for Bato to do that, because, as he said, it was ceremonial and sacred and
so cool,
used in particular ways by certain people. So that's legitimate. However, it's funny that he just said that to the Avatar.
I found them by the boat.
It is sacred and incredibly fragile. Like, yes. Right. Aang's like the bridge of like all of that. He's like the most spiritual person in this world, but he's 12 and still
he doesn't like remember all of that. So Aang already remembers that like from a past life.
No, it's just that everyone in the room knows he's the Avatar, but I love those moments where like he's just Aang too, just a person.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's like acting his age.
Yeah. But you're right that he was passive in that scene. He was Aang just sort of sat back and tried to join in when he could, but was feeling left out, while Katara and Sokka hear that their dad is perhaps days or weeks away, and there's a rendezvous point where they plan to meet up, so they have a chance to maybe see their dad again.
And then something happens for this show that's sort of rare. We get a non-Aang flashback. We get a flashback from Sokka. We catch like a part of his little origin story.
Yeah. I love seeing just a few years younger Sokka. He's painted up all like a warrior, like all the men are.
He's on the coastline, and then the men are going away in boats. They're going to the front, right?
Yeah. It's just little Sokka on the ice watching as they all sail away. That's a cool backstory for him.
Yeah, and it speaks to his character. Like, he always is the type who wants to help out. Like, he's the first to help out. Like, he's just like, he's since day one, we've seen that he like identifies a cause and like chooses for that to represent him, whether that's the band of merry travelers or if it's,
he takes
it just
the lead.
explains a lot about Sokka to see that side of him,
Yeah, we saw him in the very first episode of the show, like coaching all of the little boys in the village on how to be warriors. And then now, like, we see in that flashback why that was taken upon him. He took that on his shoulders because he literally like watched his dad and everybody just sail away. Sokka's the coolest.
Okay, so here's what I know about June. June did not find them by the boat. She found them by that seedy tavern. And it literally looked like she was arm wrestling Ryuji from Street Fighter in that scene. Like, meeting her was just like nuts. She was just like, here, this is a normal Wednesday evening for me.
Yeah.
She's arm wrestling Ryuji for like a wager. And then they hire her.
And she's like having a conversation and then just like annihilates the guy. Yeah, she's like...
It's wild.
Wild?
Weird, wild stuff.
Yeah, so that's cool. Zuko hires her there.
Yeah, Zuko enlists the tracking weasel right there.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So we follow... I thought that was a cool animation with you follow the Shirshu's nose for the first time.
Oh my gosh, that was a cool animation. It really took you into the Shirshu world.
That's like the ingenuity I like from this entire team that made this show. Like, okay, I can see how that is seeing with smell. Interesting. Now we move on.
I mean, it uses only the two senses available to it, vision and sound, to really take you there. It's interesting.
Yeah. So let's flip back to Team Avatar for a minute. They're having a grand old time around the fire.
The gang is having a grand old time.
Talking to Bato, swapping tales. And
Bato has stories.
He has stories on stories.
Mm-hmm.
And he's extremely articulate.
Yes.
Anyway, Aang slips out of the tent because feeling left out.
Oh, I don't take part in your rich cultural heritage. Boo, poor me.
Yeah, I think there's something about him that senses like they might go see their dad, and he just knows that means they might leave. And that would be an understandable thing in his eyes, but it's hard for a 12-year-old.
And maybe Katara not dealing him in there is like all the evidence that he needs. Like, she's not going to marry you. It's not going to.
Yeah, I see that.
But of course, he doesn't know what to do with that information because he's like 12. Right?
Right. Like, okay, some symbolism for Avatar fans. He gave her a necklace he made himself like a couple episodes ago. Actually, the beginning of Fortune Teller, that's when that happened. We got the fortune that Katara will probably marry a very powerful bender.
Uh-huh.
And then
he's
what
like,
do you
"Babe."
know? Next episode, Aang's got to deal with the father.
Right. He's like,
In theory.
the emotional weight of this promise ring. It's
It's the battle over the necklace, baby. So that's, so Zuko has Katara's necklace, which is the scent that the Shirshu actually follows, the giant weasel thing, to track Team Avatar. But let's go back to Aang in the night.
How is the gang?
Aang by himself in the night, sitting on the boat, when up comes an Earth Kingdom messenger, which I don't know why, I just think the voice actor who did this is fantastic. I laugh every time I hear, "I'm looking for Bato of the Water Tribe."
I laugh every time I hear, "I found them by the boat." Because once again, it's been found at the boat.
Yeah.
Found them by the boat. Okay.
Yeah, the simple statements in this are just really
It's very Disney.
really good.
I thought there
humor.
was a little bit of Disney dialogue going on. I don't know.
For sure. But then it's quick.
Guardians of the Galaxy
That little
style.
humor is quickly dashed by Aang getting a literal map to their father, like, your love, and he just crumbles it up and hides it because he's a child.
Because he's a tiny little baby who can't handle the enormity of what's been put before him. And that friendship above all things, is what's really...
You're really trying to understand.
And that friendship is really driving home what I'm saying right now. Friendship above all else. Loyalty above all else. Right?
Sure.
We get none of that from Aang. None of that. He is a snake in this scene.
Crumple it up.
I could not believe it.
He doesn't throw it away. He stashes it under
Yeah.
his collar.
Yeah.
But what do you know? Why don't we get everybody back on the boat?
Yeah.
Because the next day, with some free time, I guess, to spend with Bato, they happen to have a ship, and Sokka, in a brief flashback, we also learn, didn't get to have the particular rite of passage into adulthood.
He was getting ready for a ceremony that didn't happen, and he kind of looked like Gene Simmons out of Kiss when he did it.
Never got to prove himself out on the ice.
Yeah.
He's the Happy Gilmore of this episode, I guess.
Oh my God. Bringing in the Happy Gilmore reference.
Can't help it.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So, slided on past that. We don't have ice, but we have a boat with Team Avatar and, would you say, a relationship on the rocks? Maybe.
Well, it's if the love boat's on the rocks, then come knocking because somebody needs help steering. What kind of ice challenge is this?
You have to navigate the boat. You have to take point.
Ice challenge
and
extreme
you have to
mode.
lead your boat through the icebergs.
Like literally
Presumably.
just children being the pilots for the Titanic in
I mean, not like
the wilderness
Titanic.
of rocks.
You couldn't have sails like that.
It's
on
like
the
asking a
Titanic.
pilot to drive through Easter Island.
It's like the
just go in
opposite.
between.
Opposite situation of what happened here.
Because of who was piloting the old girl or what?
Yeah, because Sokka just didn't hesitate. He told everybody what to do, and even pushing it because he had such faith in Aang and Katara's abilities as airbenders and waterbenders.
This is all true.
To take him out on the real dangerous rocks and then just be like, guys, it's fine. Bend the water, bend the air. We'll just go over it. And it worked.
And at this time, it's almost biblical how many times. Let's remember what Aang is thinking right now. Because Aang is thinking keeping the secret from everything. So like the fact that Sokka is going all in right now and Aang is literally just he squirms when he's asked a question at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to just see Sokka going hard like this, like he must, oof.
It's the snowball
The
lie.
guilt. And at this point, he's like, he has literally had trust thrown in his face by Bato like twice now. Like Bato's like, ooh, some cryptic thoughts for you on the meaning of trust. Like just for you randomly, no one else really.
Yeah, he's very direct, isn't he, in his indirection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But
I mean,
friendship is the most important thing. And if there's one takeaway from here, that's what...
It was tough in this episode for an adult character other than Iroh to be a main character. We're with kids a lot of the time, or young people.
Right.
Or sages.
Right.
We just like had a
lot
normal
of sages.
adult dude from the water tribe, but like Bato's pretty solid as far as characterization goes. They did a lot with not a lot of time. Good backstory.
And Bato's demeanor for this whole scene too, like while they're doing the rock challenge, is so it comes off a little sagely.
Absolutely. I mean, you will pass or fail on your own. He's
right.
Like, not doing anything. I'm gonna sit here. But that was cool. It challenged the kids in the team, and they come back to the beach, and Bato bestows them with their tribal marks for successfully making it through the rocks.
And Aang is sitting here when he's getting when he's getting the forehead marks, and it's like, and this is all about trust. Now, a few more words about trust. Like, this guy he's kind of being like a little snake, you know, and that he's not seeing it after the universe is like throwing it in his face is so funny. It's just so funny to me.
You know, just a little self-sabotage. Little Aang.
He little angst.
Sokka gets the wise mark, and Katara gets the mark of the brave, and then Aang gets the mark, of the trusted. And he comes out with it right away. To his credit, he's like, I've had enough. I have to tell the truth.
Right.
So he does. And then, like, I didn't even buy it. They, like, split up. Understandably, that's a huge deception.
Yeah.
But
it's like, oh, I don't really mess with you anymore then, you know?
Yeah. But Sokka and Katara are just like, yeah, no, bye. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, this is what the whole show's about. I didn't buy it, like, even when I was 11. That's just going to be for a minute.
You thought that that Katara and Sokka's allegiance to him should be stronger, and like they should just understand.
I knew that even
this is the prime directive.
Yeah, no, I felt like even though I understand why they feel that way, but like they'll realize in a minute that they have to go with the Avatar. That's their job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And fate will bring them there.
And writing took them apart because we needed to have Katara separate from Aang because the Shirshu is tracking Katara's scent, not Aang's, and that creates interesting plot.
It does. Okay, so we're going to pause for a brief commercial break here. The commercial, I was thinking I'd leave it up to you. Do you want to talk about your book for a second while I grab a glass of water?
All right. Talk about my book. So, for those of you who don't know, November is National Novel Writing Month, otherwise known as #NaNoWriteMo. This will be my 4th year participating and the first time I will actually have a completed novel at the end, which will be available for any of those who would want to order it around the end of the month. But my book is called Millie the Millennial. It is metafiction, climate fiction, with some fantasy and folklore tossed in. And here's the description for the back of the book. Millie the Millennial is a tall tale. The story picks up in the summer of 2001, when 8-year-old Millie Junegrass Womack Yoder trips into a patch of pitcher's thistle. All at once, she loses almost all her marbles and winds up with magic bugs in her brain. The Claires, a name Millie coined on account of the bug's various clairvoyances, give Millie a higher sense of awareness. With the Claire's powers, she might just stand a chance against her family's curse of schleprockness. Millie's story is riddled with impossible events. The uncanniest parts might make some readers feel lost in the land of far-fetched. So remember this. The facts are straightforward when you know whatever happens is just a euchre trick. So, anyway, guys, that's my book. It's going to be a short novel and going to be out towards the end of this month. AJ,
Woo!
Don't you have something also coming out this month?
Reels, the debut project from me, AJ Capuano. On November 19th, hear scintillating rhythms. I don't want to go to verdant harmonies. Dream pop soundscapes. Pure pop vibes. AJ Capuano's a one-man boy band. On Reels, November 19th.
Show off.
Oh boy. Yeah, what of it?
One man boy band. Despite his cheesiness, y'all,
my
the
gosh.
songs are really good. You can actually listen to 3 of them right now.
Yeah, 3 of them are already out. We have Imposter, Faster and Faster, and Work Life. They're already out on streaming services. So if you want to search my name, AJ Capuano.
That's Capuano.
AJ Capuano, Capuano on all your streaming services and your TikToks and whatnot. 3 of those songs are out, and the whole record is like 4 more. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, creative stuff.
Yes. So we've both been pretty busy here, but as always, we love to return to Atla. So on the topic of returning to Atla, do you want to let's dive back into the episode? Where were we?
We were right at the deception.
The deception.
Or Aang admitting to his wrongdoing and the team splitting up for like a minute.
Oh, right. Yeah, because they're really kind of holding it against Aang, especially at first.
I mean, wouldn't you, as like 15, 16, 13, 14, we're not exactly sure how old they are, I don't think, but just slightly older than Aang. Wouldn't you be mad if Aang crumpled up the map to your dad you ain't seen in 2 years and just hit it?
Yeah. I would start to lose trust in him.
But
That's not unwarranted.
luckily, Bato, who I didn't miss it, Avatar writers. Bato has this nice, like, anecdote about a wolf. Balto, maybe?
Balto?
Yeah, you know Balto?
Like off the movie?
Yeah,
Oh.
the wolf that, like, saves the town by going to get medicine for the little girl who's sick and etc.
I see the parallel.
Yeah, so Bato of the Water Tribe gives Sokka and Katara a very nice story about how when a wolf is separated from its pack, you know, things don't go so well.
Right.
And that's how they remember, you know what? This really is our job. We've got to go back to Aang, where his family.
A higher calling. Like, they somewhat admirably rise above. I don't know, because I would hold that against him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm a lot like Katara. I probably would have gone with my big brother too when he said, "Are you with me?" Like, trust that judgment. But at the end of the day, they're kids. They came to their senses and were like, whoa, our job is like big and important. We should probably go do that.
How do we get from there to the fight?
You remember, because the writers, I imagine, split them up on purpose because the Shirshu was tracking Katara's scent via her necklace that Zuko stole.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, Aang is, hanging out with Appa somewhere. He feels like an idiot. And then cut to Sokka and Katara making their way back to Aang.
And it's just biting them in the butt.
Yeah, when Shirshu comes up on them, uses its poison tongue, paralyzes them both, and, Obviously, Zuko doesn't believe them when Sokka's like, nope, actually, we split up. We're not with the Avatar anymore. He's like, yeah, fat chance.
Right. Prince Zuko once again wrestling with his lifelong obsession. His rosebud. I gotta get this little 10-year-old.
His only chance at honor.
Right. So then maybe Daddy will love me again.
Yeah, don't make fun of him yet. His story is really compelling.
Okay.
But that takes us back to the Abbey, where the sisters, the perfume-making sisters, have just been doing their thing, making perfume, and then in crashes a giant bison, a Shirshu, and like 7 people.
Right. And that's how you know it's time for an Avatar fight, because here we are in the town square where unsuspecting businesses are likely to get shaken up a little bit. And yeah.
So
Time for a
as
fight.
some of the best episodes of Avatar go, there's an epic battle between Aang and Zuko. Do you want to talk about that part first?
I want to talk about Aang's little kite that he flies around at. I had forgotten about it, and it is cool.
His glider is cool.
Very cool. And that perfume really comes in handy.
Yeah, it sure does. What you were talking about with his glider, yeah, that was cool. The Shirshu, we remember, sees with its nose. So it comes to the Abbey, but can't find Aang. It's just like spinning in circles, which Zuko cleverly points out. Why is it just walking in a circle? Angst forever. Anyway, it's because Aang is in the sky, as airbenders do.
Right. And the fight is your classic fire versus wind matchup. We have Zuko dispensing the flame kicks, likely fueled by his adolescent rage, right? Just manifests in a big fiery boot.
Accurate.
And then Aang's coming back with the air kicks.
Yeah, they do a lot of really cool shots and like footwork
Super
in this.
cool.
They're like running on roofs, just like,
I was on the edge of my seat. It was sweet.
yeah, ignore the fact that they're just like absolutely obliterating this Abbey.
Right.
No worries. But
The tourism commission is just like, every time this little guy comes through a town, now we have to spend millions of dollars to repair our landmarks. I don't know.
there's always trouble coming with the Avatar these days.
Right, always. But, necessary.
Another cool part of this fight was like the first major epic battle between 2 giant hybrid creatures in this world.
And who would have known that Cool Blue by Drakkar Noir would have saved the day? Because Iroh gets this great idea. With all this perfume, he's like, I'm going to spray this freshness.
That's not Iroh's idea.
It's not Iroh's idea.
No.
Whose idea was it?
It was Sokka's, the clever one.
Oh my gosh. Why did I think it was Iroh? Iroh's like, other than him just like descending upon this hapless woman, Iroh's not really like a key player.
No, I think that's probably why you remember him so much in this scene.
Because he's spraying the perfume on himself to go try and talk to
yes,
what's her name?
He's like just an old little skis bag in this episode. And
he is.
Again, I want to reiterate, Iroh is one of my favorite characters in the series. This is extremely out of character for him. It's the only episode I can remember him acting like this.
Really?
Really.
It kind of surprised me, to be honest.
That's why, and not to make excuses, like, just don't be hitting on women who are like 60 years your junior. Anyway,
Right.
That, but also
getting up there in
because
age.
I want to stick with my theory that the June, the woman with the red serpent tattoo, is actually maybe a spirit of death. And so Iroh is flirting with death because it's his last great adventure he has to take. I don't know.
That sounds so literary. You must be writing a book.
Can anyone else get on board with that theory? I want to hear about it. Anyway.
Interesting.
So the battle keeps going. Appa, after withstanding the poison of the Shirshu for a while, like finally gets whipped with it like too many times and just can't keep from being paralyzed. So then we jump to Zuko and Aang fighting over the well, which I thought was really cool.
really, really, really cool because it's the. I mean, aside from ground, you don't get a whole lot of ground to listen to me. The ground nation, the Earth nation,
Dirtbenders.
the Dirtbenders. Aside from dirt bending, you get all the other three elements represented here, and I thought it was interesting how they depict this part of the fight kind of like the water cycle happening, except like aggressive water cycle, malicious water cycle, weaponized water cycle.
That's a really interesting observation I hadn't made before. Yeah,
Because there's clouds and there's raining, and
it draws the water up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I saw with their footwork is perhaps another foreshadowing moment for this won't make any sense to AJ since he hasn't seen it yet. But
Okay, should I leave the room?
Dragon dance, guys. I don't know. Watch their steps. Anyway,
I certainly don't know.
we can move on.
Okay.
So what ultimately happens? Sokka has this great idea.
Dance.
We got to take out this Shirshu, and it sees with its nose. And guess what? We
What?
just happen to be in this abbey that is just chock full of perfume.
Oh my gosh. I know what to do with that perfume. Sokka told me.
So not only can Katara waterbend, but she can also perfume bend.
She can perfume bend, yeah. Not to split hairs or anything, but most perfume is like mostly oil and whatever the perfume is and a trace of water.
Not to split hairs.
Okay, that was to split hairs.
But it's animation, so if
It's animation.
if
We're going to
it's
suspend
liquid-
disbelief. Yes, exactly. And this perfume, it probably was water. You know, because look at the technology they're working with. They don't even have the iPhone 13.
True.
Just one of the quality insights you get from listening to Atlas Shrugged. But
There's
yeah,
not much like it, folks.
no.
But that was cool. We acknowledged how cool we thought the Shirshu's site was like earlier in the episode.
Super cool.
This I just think is really clever, a really interesting way to show its like sense blindness. It gets bathed in that perfume and then just like all the colors run together.
Its greatest strength is its greatest weakness.
And yeah, we have to examine that moment just a little bit. The Shirshu bucks, knocks everybody off, and there's Iroh like over in the corner. This is so weird. It's like the slow-mo no catches June.
Yeah.
And then that awkward moment where Zuko is actually paralyzed. Mostly everybody is actually paralyzed from the Shirshu going crazy. Iroh definitely isn't.
Iroh is such a BSer. And he kind of gets called out on it, and you see that really smarmy side of Iroh, and it's weird.
Yeah, it was just weird.
He like flashes the thumbs up, like gives you that bro wink.
Meanwhile, like, June is clearly not happy about it.
No.
Which I don't really have a problem with her. Like, she's helping Zuko, but I don't even think she knew who he was.
Avatar, the show where you're like looking at the interactions between the evil people and being like, yeah, you know, they're in the right, they're in the wrong.
But that strengthens my theory that
What's your theory?
June is perhaps the spirit of death, because that's what happens in the Kyoshi novels. There's no judgment. Death is an assassin.
Are
and
you spoilering something?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is just from the books.
Ah.
Like, yeah, I think everybody should read SCE's, what is it called?
The Rise of Kyoshi, Warrior Kyoshi.
Yes. Rise of Kyoshi. I'm on the Shadow of Kyoshi
Family
now.
Basket.
Great books. Extends on the Avatar lore. Very cool. Anyway.
Right on. Yeah, you've been eating that book up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then what happens after Iroh's frat boy moment?
Well, Appa gets with it, I think. Team Avatar ultimately prevails in the situation. They're able to escape. And then that wonderful moment where Aang reveals that he has gotten Katara's necklace back.
Yeah, this was a really great ending. Because that was going to be like a huge casualty, like a huge hit to her morale. And then he's afforded this chance to redeem himself at the end.
Yeah, he definitely has that chance. There is forgiveness, there's reconciliation, and then Sokka and Katara assure Aang that they're his family, they're here with him until the very end.
And then he made a little boo-boo.
And that they have faith that they'll see their dad again.
Yeah. Oh, man. So when I was first watching this episode, I actually thought that the Water Kingdom guy that came up to them was their dad for like a split second, and I got so excited. I guess I'll have to wait for that payoff, huh?
It'll come.
Okay. Hey, that's a spoiler.
Sorry. I'm excited.
Well, folks.
That puts us one episode away from the end of Disc 4.
What?
And then, yeah.
What?
For reals.
Oh, my gosh.
And then we only have one disc left, which is 4 episodes until the end of Book 1. So.
Listen to us talk about discs.
Man, DVDs.
Digital video discs.
Are they even things anymore?
I don't know.
Apparently, we
Let
don't
us
have
know.
streaming, so.
But that will not stop us from watching Avatar. Oh, no. We will find the discs.
In the original.
Broadcast quality. Oh, yes.
Well, I think that's probably enough for today.
That wrap it up?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that wraps it up. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. And again, thanks for getting us to over 2,000 downloads.
We are so excited, and I'd be lying if I said that this didn't, just really remind us why we do this podcast. We do it for your ears to listen to it, and the fact that there are more of those ears now. Super exciting, and we can't wait to do the next one.
Keep us in your headphones or
Yes,
in your
please
speakers.
do.
We'll catch you next time.
Yes.
I'm Kailey.
I'm AJ. And you've been listeneth.
Atlas shrugged.
Wiki, wiki, wiki.
Think it's late.
It is late. ASMR will see you